said we have the e-prayers, you know. The prayers go out and we ask for prayers on the internet. And I suppose God might say from time to time, I wish they'd leave me alone. Yes, you know, kind of it's the daylight is gone in New Zealand, but the prayers are still coming in from London, they're coming in from Poland, they're coming in from wherever. So we never leave God alone. Now, I want to tell you, as John has already indicated, that the parents, Daniel and Melanie Scott, have with them their beautiful child, and they're going to tell you about the efficacy of prayer. And this is where little Maia Rose makes her public debut. And we have now the Scott family. Thank you.
Looking at the advertisement for the 2006 Eucharistic Convention got us thinking. Maia Rose is the miracle baby of the convention. What did this mean, the word miracle? I looked up the meaning on Google and pages popped up, including a link to the Catholic Encyclopedia. Latin miraculum, from mirare, to wonder. If you really sit down and think, life is full of miracles and wonders. The miracle of life itself. I was born the only daughter of Chris and Jocelyn Kirkham, the first female born on my father's side for over 70 years, on 12th of October 1976. I grew up with my two brothers in Birkenhead and became part of the Makepeace mob, a group of families who lived in the same quiet street and all had children around the same age. Unknown at that stage, but the Hayhow family and the Porteous family would continue to have such a great impact on my life ahead. I had a fantastic childhood, which contained no major dramas. Intermediate school took me to Carmel College, where I met my two lifelong friends. School certificate, sixth form and bursary led me to Auckland Institute of Technology, where I completed a diploma in hospitality management. My graduation was the first in my family, and I was the only grandchild my grandfather would see graduate.
I was born 5th of March 1975, the oldest of three children. I also grew up on the North Shore and went to Takapuna Grammar School. In my last year, I was a prefect and I was awarded the Sportsman of the Year award. After school, I studied at Unitec and became an engineer specialising in land development design. I also kept up my sporting interests, playing rugby at North Shore Rugby Club and numerous rep teams. Now it was through my love of sport that I met Mel. After suffering a string of injuries playing rugby, I started to look for another sport to play. One I hoped would be a little less accident prone. The nurses at the A&E started to save me a seat in the waiting room every Saturday afternoon. A couple of my friends were playing indoor netball and asked me to play. I was lucky that they had this stunning lady in the team. How could I turn them down? This brings us to the next miracle, that of love. For Mel and I, the miracle of 21. Our first date was the 21st of February 1999. 21 months later, I popped the question on the 21st of November at 2100 hours. Romantic or soppy, I'll leave that one up to you. We decided to save and go on ROE before marrying and set off for Europe a few months later. But before leaving, we set our wedding date, the 21st of February 2004.
We backpacked around Europe for 3 months and then settled in London. To organise a wedding in New Zealand from London was a challenge, and sometimes I thought we needed a miracle to pull it off. Our first church had fallen through and many tearful phone calls home were made. Then we spoke to Father Bernard, who I had met some years earlier through the Hayhow family. He was to be our knight in shining armour, and still is so inspiring. Good news, St. Patrick's Cathedral, the grand old lady in Auckland City, was available, but Father Bernard was not. We agreed to one of the younger priests marrying us, and all was set. Until one day we received another unexpected twist. The cathedral was double booked, and the couple being married the same day did not want to share. Father Bernard came to the rescue and told us he would marry us anywhere we wanted, but he had a suggestion. We were married on the 21st of February 2004 by Father Bernard Kiley at St Mary's in Holy Trinity, an Anglican cathedral in Parnell. We returned to London and settled back into our jobs. Happy newlyweds. The last miracle is the reason we stand in front of you today, the miracle of new life.
8 months after we returned to London, we were blessed with the wonderful news. We were pregnant. A wee bundle of joy, due 23rd of June 2005. The first grandchild and great-grandchild on both sides of our family. Mel read a pregnancy guide to me about what was happening each week. It was also amazing. Everything is formed in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. The first 16 weeks were exciting but also very difficult, as I had to watch my wife suffer with terrible morning sickness, and I could do nothing. However, Christmas came and the sickness disappeared. Just as we found out we were expecting, I was offered a job in New Zealand with relocation. It was such perfect timing for us. We returned home in March 2005 and began setting everything up for our new arrival. We bought our first home and moved in just 3 weeks before the due date. Everything was perfect, and now we were watching Mel grow and waiting in anticipation to meet whoever was growing inside of her.
The due date came and went, and finally I was booked for an induction. However, we would not use it as I went into labour the night before. 33 hours of labour ended in an emergency C-section due to the baby being in distress. Maia Rose Scott was born, weighing 8 pound 4, on Sunday the 3rd of July 2005 at 7:02 a.m. She was checked over and given a clean bill of health, and we were both transferred to the ward. Sunday was full of visitors, so happy and wanting to welcome our precious wee girl to the world. That night, the midwife on duty took Maia from me so I could rest. During a routine nappy change, she realised all was not right. The next morning, a paediatrician came and gave us the bad news. Maia had an imperforate anus, or a plumbing problem, as we prefer to call it. While everything was forming in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, one thing had not formed correctly. Maia was transferred to Starship Children's Hospital, and I was to recover at National Women's next door. The next 24 hours were crucial and so heartbreaking. As the doctors explained, that Maia's problem was often a symptom of a much larger and more critical problem, such as heart defects, spinal abnormalities, and many other such things. She was to undergo a series of tests, and this is when John Porteous sent out his first email, and your prayers began. John's words were a great solace to us. God's ways are not ours. Sometimes we struggle to understand why things happen. At the end of the day, we have to put everything into God's hands and trust Him to help us through the tough times. All the tests came back normal, which was such a relief. But we were advised that Maia had 3 operations ahead of her. The first would be done at just 11 days old. Due to large waiting lists at Starship, we were told not to expect the second op until Maia was around 3 months old, and the last at 6 to 8 months. The first op was completed and all went well. We were in hospital for 7 days, and as we were about to leave, many small things delayed us, thankfully. As we were walking out the door, the nurse stopped us. The surgeon wanted to talk to us. There was a cancellation on his theatre schedule the following morning, and if we stayed, he could do Maia's main operation. Tears were shed of joy and fear, all at the same time. Maia was only 17 days old and about to undergo her second major surgery. Our family and friends rallied around us, and the prayers continued.
Everything went smoothly, and Maia took it all in a stride, recovering so quickly. She was discharged 6 days later, just in time for her christening, which was booked while Mel was still pregnant. On Sunday the 31st of July 2005 by Father Bernard at St Patrick's Cathedral. This time it was not double booked, and it had not been closed for restoration. At just 8 weeks of age, Maia had underwent her final operation, and we all waited and prayed that her plumbing would start working again, and she would be able to lead a normal and happy life. It did, and she had gone from strength to strength since those trying first 8 weeks.
We had no idea what to expect when we were pregnant, but nobody can prepare themselves for a sick baby. Starship did such a wonderful job, and those nurses and doctors all have hearts of gold. We also realised how fortunate we were. So many kids were much worse off than Maia. I stayed in Starship with Maia when she was there and had many hours free for thinking. I never thought I could do so many things that I found us doing, but you learn to cope. I tell people that I don't think God would give us anything we could not cope with. My best friend and Maia's godmother sent this prayer the night before her second operation. Dear Father, whom I cannot see, smile down from heaven on little me. Let angels through the darkness spread their holy wings about my bed, and keep me safe, because I am the Heavenly Father's little lamb. The word angel is used in Hebrew to denote indifferently either a divine or human messenger. We would like to thank all of you angels out there who stormed heaven and prayed for us and spread your love around Maia's bed. It is also said that each individual soul has its guardian angel. As St. Jerome expressed it, how great the dignity of the soul, since each one has from birth an angel commissioned to guard it. There are no words strong enough to thank John and Beth Porteous for their support and unconditional love. We consider you Maia's guardian angels. Thank you.